So welcome back to The Great Indoors, coming to you for the final time from MWC 2025 in Barcelona, the most influential event in global connectivity. Now, this year's show brought together a staggering 109,000 attendees, thousands of companies, and the brightest minds in telecom and tech. It's been a long, tiring, yet exhilarating week. As we close it out, we'll also wrap up another incredible season of The Great Indoors. This finale marks the end of season 10, believe it or not. A journey that has taken us through more than, north of 100 episodes now and conversations with over 200 leaders across the global tech ecosystem. It's been incredible. It's been ambitious. It's been energizing. We've made it amazing. And like all good endings, it's, I guess, a tad emotional. Now, in this season, we continue to explore cutting-edge innovations shaping the world of connectivity, technology, and customer experience, all through the unique lens of human impact and meaningful change. I'm your host, Matthew Roberts, and as ever, I'm joined by the silent yet dependable Larissa Yee, our podcast producer. So we're closing on a high note with two powerhouse voices from two of the world's most important telecom players, T-Mobile and Telefonica. So first we sit down with Mr. Ankur Kapoor, the Chief Network Officer of T-Mobile United States. And with over 20 years at the company, Ankur has helped lead T-Mobile's transformation from a challenger brand to the de facto 5G global leader, known for just the best quality network using AI to drive operations and a relentless focus on customer love at scale. He'll be joined by Nir Hollander, our GM and Divisional President of Amdocs Mobile Network Solutions, to explore how T-Mobile is building programmable networks, self-healing infrastructure, and AI-first strategies that are redefining what it means to be a network operator. Then we welcome back my old friend, Daniel Hernandez Ortega, Senior Vice President at Telefonica, returning for his second appearance on the show. And Danny oversees Telefonica's 6 billion devices and consumer IoT business, shipping over 20 million devices a year across Europe and Latin America. From AI-infused user experiences to the rise of on-device intelligence. And Danny offers a fresh take on how operators can stay relevant in a fast-changing landscape. It's great to have Danny back, great friend of mine. So from the network edge to the digital pocket, this episode is about evolution, execution, and human-centered innovation. It's been an amazing season. Get ready. This is the finale. Thanks for being a part of it. So let's get started. So welcome back to The Great Indoors 2025 here in Barcelona. Day 3, I believe, if my memory serves me well. You start to lose track of time, of course. I'm really pleased to welcome my next two guests to the show today. We have Mr. Ankur Kapoor, who's the Chief Network Officer at T-Mobile, and he'll be joined by Amdocs' very own Nir Hollander. So welcome both of you to the show.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
So let's get into it. Let's start with you, Ankur. Give a little bit of a history of yourself, your journey, your role at T-Mobile, and how you've come to be where you're at.
Yeah, great. So I've been with T-Mobile for over 20 years, been in different roles. I'm a Chief Network Officer now, responsible for all of network strategy, long-term plans, and AI and data initiatives. It's been a great journey. I think the journey for T-Mobile has been, for those of you that have been tracking it, has been from last to first, right? If I go back a decade ago or so, we were actually a generation behind, some would say, on the technology. When everybody was on LTE back in 2010, 2011 timeframe, we were still running a 3G network. In the 5G era, we've absolutely become the leaders, right? Not only the US leaders, but actually, I would say global leaders, right? That's what all the third-party accolades show us. So, been a great journey.
I think you got it there, Ankur, absolutely. I think the T-Mobile 5G network is the rival, is the envy of most service providers in the United States and beyond, for sure. But how did you get there? How did you cement that 5G leadership? I know you've done great marketing. I know Mike Katz is a great guy and the way the network has been marketed. But how did you get to that level of coverage, those KPIs that industry leading?
Yeah, that's a great question and something that get asked all the time. Obviously, I think, struggling if you go back a few years back, where this journey started was the combination of T-Mobile and the Sprint network, right? We closed that combination in 2020, and that gives us the fuel for this wireless industry, which is the spectrum, right? Our spectrum position is obviously the deepest, right? But not only we have deep spectrum, what we have the best spectrum in all the three different layers in wireless, right? So if you look at the low band, we have the best low band asset in 600 megahertz. Yeah. If you look at the mid band, we have the best mid band asset in 2.5 gigahertz, right? And if you look at the high band, right, millimeter wave, we have the best in 24 gigahertz in there. And the journey...
The layer cake, you used to call it,
the
right?
The layer cake, we used to call it, which if you again go back at the starting of the 5G era, nobody actually believed us. Nobody thought that layer cake is the thing that's going to work. Everybody was 5G in the initial days was about millimeter wave.
Yeah.
And now it's actually a pretty proud moment for T-Mobile because across the globe, everybody's implementing a layer cake strategy, right? It's a combination of low, mid, and high band.
Yeah.
And I think overall, it's kind of three different pillars that we have at T-Mobile. That's what makes us a leader. It's the best experience, it's the best network, and it's the best value. Right?
Yeah.
And if you think of any product that you buy in the market, not the wireless, those are the three things that you're looking for, right? You want the best value, you want to get the most of the money you spend, you want the best product, right? In our case, it's the network, and you want the best quality, you want the best experience on it all the time. And that's really what it has been.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I think differentiates T-Mobile from all the carriers across the globe is our customer centricity.
Yeah.
That's something we implemented. We don't do anything that's not right for the customer, right? It's customer love at scale, what we call it within the business. So that's really been the success factor for us.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Now let me bring Nir into the conversation and let's talk about the partnership with Amdocs and T-Mobile. And why is that such an important partnership from your perspective, Nir?
Well, first of all, when Ankur said the customer experience, so I think it's probably the number one goal in Amdocs in general and specifically for us for sure. Mm-hmm. We have a long relationship with T-Mobile in many different areas, on the network side and what we do for them now on the services. We have been doing that for years. I think that when I heard Ankur saying both about the strategy of having the low, mid, and high band and how they deployed 5G nationwide, 5G SA, I think hopefully we were able to help and support in doing that. From the planning perspective, to the design, to the rollout, to the integration, to supporting everything they need in terms of making it faster, making it more reliable, making sure that the customer experience is good enough, optimization, regulation stuff that we have been doing together with Ankur and his team. So I think that our partnership is important in getting T-Mobile to be able to provide the best network for their customer, and for us to be able to provide the best service, the best product, the best solution for T-Mobile.
That's brilliant. Now, the one area that pops up in every podcast I've had this week that we can talk about, of course, is AI. How are you looking at AI from a network perspective right now, Ankur?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, I mean, if you think of in any industry right now, it's AI is talk of the town, right? You cannot actually go and have any conversation without AI. And I think AI is great, right? Especially in the telecom world, we've actually started using AI, not to an extent of generative AI yet, right? Because I think that's the next evolution and the next stage. But we are using AI pretty extensively in our network. Everything from customer experience all the way into the network optimization, right? And day-to-day network operations. And I kind of, we have what we think about AI generally is we want to be a deeply data-informed, AI-enabled digital-first company. That's kind of our aspiration, right? We want customers to be enabled to do what our reps can do in the store. And we want our stores to become an experience store, not something where you walk in just to pay your bill, right?
Yeah.
That's something customers should be able to do on their own, right? That's from a customer centricity perspective. From a network operations perspective, I think, again, there's huge aspirations we have, and we've made some great progress, and we hear a lot, and I think I never want to be satisfied saying that we are ahead in the journey, but we hear from lots of our partners, including Amdocs, right, who has been a great partner for over 2 decades for us, right, that the AI journey that we are on is clearly delivering. And we do simple things, which are now in hindsight, when I go back and think and call it simple, but we started on this journey and embarked on this journey. They were very complicated, right? So during disaster times, how do we go and optimize our coverage real time? It's what happens when people are at the stadium and the games and big football games happening. how do we increase capacity? How do we change our settings to actually give that best experience to the customer? So those are some of the AI use cases that we've already implemented. Broadly speaking, I think in the future, we are looking at now kind of the AI RAN. We made some of these announcements at our Capital Markets Day that we did in September of 28 last year. So just a few months back, and we're already kind of on that journey. And we believe the radio network is going to be AI enabled, right? Where the radio network should become a self-healing and a self-optimizing network.
Wow. Cool. And anything to add to that, Nir, as far as our perspective on AI?
It's spot on, and we definitely see it. We see it here, that everyone are talking about it and showing. We also we're investing in it, both with T-Mobile and internally. You mentioned the self-healing and the self-optimized networks. And we are also part of the AI RAN Alliance, working with some of the work groups. And we have also several use cases that we are already supporting. And we are also developing our own non-real-time RIC, which we already have in a new engine that we built. And we have our apps that we are able to provide and share. And all of it is also shared with T-Mobile and Ankur and his team. And I think that we see the evolution, we see what's happening, and we definitely want to be there and help T-Mobile in accelerating this journey and making sure that we're getting to the zero-touch network in a way, that self-optimized. And this is really where we all want to go.
Yeah. So my next question, and I'm hoping you can answer this because I'm still figuring this out. Is it too early to start talking about 6G? So the T-Mobile 5G network, phenomenal success, incredible rollout, incredible KPIs, incredible customer experience. But what about 6G? Where is your thinking on that, and what's it going to potentially bring?
Yeah, I don't think it's too early to talk about 6G. Actually, as a matter of fact, a bunch of conversations that I had during MWC here were actually focused on 6G.
Right.
And one of the big advantages that T-Mobile has is what you might have heard. There's different ways to say that, but 5G is really not 5G unless doing end-to-end 5G. And what I mean by that is all the way from the device and all the way up to the core network.
Yeah.
And T-Mobile has the most 5G advanced scaled standalone network. And that's a bridge to 6G in there. Now, with that said, is it too early to start talking about 6G? I think the answer would be no. Is it too early to get into the details of 6G? I think those are still being figured out. The specs are still being written, which is what's going to become really important in the 6G world is actually the control plane that we have, right? And those are the conversations we're having. So some of these things takes many, many years to develop. The spec writing would take another couple of years. I think the entire industry is on that path already.
Yeah. Because I always note that if you look at all the iterations of the Gs, when we went from 4G to 5G, that was the biggest leap, right, as far as a fundamental change in the engineering of the network. Do you see the same magnitude of difference between 5G and 6G, or 6G coming in to refine maybe some of the inefficiencies, maybe call it that way, of 5G?
No, I think 6G is going to be, again, another big change in the industry, right? But some of the things, and it's still being figured out, right? But sub-millisecond latencies that we talk about is going to be part of the 6G. There are aspirations on 6G to be actually a seamless network between the terrestrial networks and the non-terrestrial networks. So that's something very revolutionary, I would say, that's not part of the 5G, or was not even thought in the 5G days. The speeds that we're looking at and the channel bandwidths that we're looking at is hundreds of megahertz as opposed to tens of megahertz in the 5G. So I don't think it's going to be a refinement of 5G. I think it is going to be a real next generation once we get to 6G.
Because I'm in marketing and we speak to customers all over the world, the one, and I'm not just flattering your ego here, I think the one operator that the rest of the world service providers look up to is T-Mobile, 100%, because they come and they ask us for references and is there anybody we can speak to at T-Mobile, etc. What advice would you give to a carrier somewhere else in the world that's aspiring to get to where you are in your network? What are the pitfalls that you would advise them against, or what just general advice would you impart?
Yeah, that's a great question. And thank you for saying that. I think we actually kind of feel the same. It's a really proud moment for T-Mobile in its journey and where we have been with our partners and the parent company, Deutsche Telekom in Europe. And this is I wish we had about 2 days to kind of answer this question. We could have gone in details, but I think the biggest thing I would say is what differentiates T-Mobile and what changed our journey was really the customer centricity. And if you think of this industry has not been customer centric. It has been network centric and product centric as opposed to customer centric. And what really changed the journey for us was actually focusing on what customer wants, what customer needs. What are the pain points we're solving for the customer? So we started at looking at things very differently than how the entire industry, and probably at some point of time, including T-Mobile, looked at this a decade or 15 years ago. And that was the biggest game changer for us, right? And it takes a mountain to move, right, when you're looking at trying to change the entire industry trajectory. But if you look at many of the global operators now, you're starting to see that shift, right? Where people are trying to get towards customer centricity. They're trying to solve customer pain points. They're not trying to deploy technologies, but technologies being used to address the customer pain point as opposed to what it was in the past is rolling out new technologies. So that would be my biggest advice back to all the friends across the telecom industry is customer love at scale. That's kind of what we call it. And if customers love the product, if customers get the best value and the best experience and the best technology, that's really what makes the difference.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Now, one question I like to ask all my guests, and we'll start with you, Nir. We're on day 3 of the show right now. We normally leave Barcelona, and there's a couple of talking points, a couple of things that stick with you once you get back to wherever you've come from. What is it so far for you, Nir? What are you going to take from Barcelona so far that's been impactful?
So first, I want to say that I completely agree with what both you and Ankur mentioned about T-Mobile. It's not a marketing thing. It's real facts. The network is amazing. The experience is amazing. You gave also the examples, bit of AI, when you have to, change tilts of antennas when something is happening in a specific area, or network slicing, or everything is around customer experience and really, really what the customer needs. And I think this is an amazing thing that T-Mobile is doing in order to do that. And it's shown on the ground and definitely an amazing achievement.
Yeah.
So this is one. The second thing about Barcelona. So I think, first of all, I see our stand, our booth is extremely busy, which is
good.
Which is excellent.
Yeah.
And I love seeing it. I've seen a lot of sharing with customers about AI, Gen AI, about at least on the network side, and in many other areas as well, obviously. So this is one takeaway that we have to do it. And automation, I wouldn't even call it specifically. People are talking about generative AI, but it's not. Generative AI is designed to do one thing or many things, but AI in general has AI ML, much more than that. So the fact that we need to automate, the fact that we need to do things faster, this is happening, and this is something that we see across the board in every company that we met. This is the discussion, this is the future, and it's actually happening now. This is, I think, the best thing that I see as a fan in Barcelona. I also see a lot of traction, and it's a very busy show this year.
It's incredibly
very busy.
Yeah.
And also we had the opportunity to meet many customers, which is great. It's a great opportunity to meet people like Ankur, other people, Salim, the T-Mobile team, other people from other customers. It's once in a year that you can really sit and think and discuss, do some stuff together. So I think it's a great experience, and you have to be here. If you consider yourself a player in this industry, you have to be here.
Absolutely. And same question to you, Ankur.
Yeah, great. I think I've been coming to this conference for over 7 years now, and I think at times it feels like speed dating, right? I mean, you're going through so many conversations and so many meetings, right, that it actually really gets confusing at times. This year actually has been particularly exciting. I think this is the first year we've been talking about this AI, and I think you talked about that at the beginning. We've been talking about AI for almost 3 years now, right? The other thing that we actually really didn't touch on this, which is linked to AI but not linked to AI, it's really linked to the 5G, which is the new API world, right? I mean, that's where the industry is headed, where you get all these new APIs, where you're able to actually become a programmable network, right? And this year, what I saw in many conversations I had, and actually it was super exciting to see and walk through that on the Amdocs booth as well, right? We got fortunate enough to get a tour of all the great things that Amdocs team is doing. And this is the first year that I'm leaving with actually lots of actions to say it's becoming a reality, right? I mean, there's been lots of talks in AI in different industry, But I really feel that the telecom industry can benefit a lot from it. The telco to techco journey that we are on, right? Because this is the year and the generation in the technology that's going to change it from a telco to a techco for us, right? And what techco would do is, again, going back to the customer pain points and making it a programmable network, right? It's not a network for everyone. It's a network for you, right? And one of the great examples of that was something that we showcased a few weeks back with a service called T-Priority that we launched for the first responders in North America. And that was a great example of a programmable network, a network slice for you, right? And I think what I saw and taking away from the conference this year is I think the industry is coming together and really taking that seriously and lots of evolution on that. So super exciting to be here. It was great to actually get partnered with the Amdocs team.
Yeah.
Aside the conversation with our partnership with Amdocs has always been great, and I think I can't wait to what we're going to do over the next few years.
Brilliant. That's awesome. Now, we're almost at the end, but before we finish with a quick fire round called TGI to go. And I'm going to give you 2 options or 3 options, and you just give me your preference. TGI to go. Do you prefer ChatGPT, Gemini Advanced, or DeepSeek?
ChatGPT.
Yeah, that's cool. That's been a winner all week. Nir?
ChatGPT.
Okay, yeah, there we go. Do you work from home now, or are you back in the office and fully collaborating with your team?
Back in the office.
In Bellevue?
In Bellevue.
Yeah, okay. And Nir?
Back in the office, some working from home,
Yeah.
and most of the time on the plane.
Yeah, I can imagine.
5G is my seat.
I can imagine. Hiking or biking?
Hiking.
Yeah, and do you hike a lot in Washington?
About a couple of days a week. I
Yeah.
would call that a lot at my age.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Biking is an aspiration. I used to bike, now less. So.
Yeah. Well, then, because we've just
Biking.
done this, I think you need to pick it up again when you
Yeah,
get back home.
absolutely. Biking.
Yeah. And my final question, I think I know the answer to this, Ankur. And I put this one in there just for you. Cricket or baseball?
Baseball. No, I'm just kidding. It's cricket, 100%.
Yeah. Because obviously T-Mobile sponsors a lot of the baseball, I see, but, you know, like me, even though I live in North America, I'll always be cricket.
That's why I had to pick baseball with official sponsors for that, and would argue and closing note that we actually changed that game with that as well with our 5G technology.
Yeah.
You can actually visit T-Mobile side or the MLB partners that we have been. So it's been great to be here.
Yeah. And Nir, cricket or baseball? I thought you played for New Zealand.
Yeah, I also thought I played for New Zealand. Apparently, I'm not sure. The Pune Warriors.
I do think India won that game.
Yeah. Well, listen, that's all we got time for today. I really appreciate you coming by, Ankur. It's great to see you on the show, Nir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it was great to be here. Thanks for hosting, and safe travels back home wherever you guys are going.
So welcome back to the Great Indoors 2025. And my next guest here really epitomizes what this show is all about.
Come on.
Right. My next guest here is someone I go back with many, many years. He's a great friend of mine, and I only ever see him when I come over to Europe to this show. So Daniel Hernandez Ortega, welcome back to the Great Indoors.
I am honored and really pleased to see you, mate. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. It's a busy week.
Yeah, no,
It's busy.
I think what you just said is true, actually. Apart from seeing new stuff, innovation, and having business meetings and so on, what makes the difference really is just to reconnect with friends.
Yeah.
That's the winning, the only reason why we come.
That's it. Otherwise, what would be the point? really?
Exactly.
Exactly.
That and the tapas.
Yeah, exactly. So, Danny, tell us a little bit about your role at Telefonica now. What are you up to these days?
So I am the VP of Devices and Consumer IoT in Telefonica Group. So we manage the end-to-end category of devices, from everything to do with technology, readiness, relationship with ecosystems, with operating system, Apple, Android, and the others, vendor management, the relationship with the big OEM players, chipset makers, and so on, and the whole negotiation, procurement, and so on. So we can see the whole value, and that we are a little bit at the headlights of the organization. So we get to see first all the sexy stuff, all the cool gadgets, and we'll try to help the countries. So Telefonica device business is about 6 billion euros. So we're talking about close to 18, 20 million devices a year.
Wow.
And we're just trying to bring that kind of new glasses, rings, AI, Ray-Ban glasses as well,
Right.
all that kind of sexy.
Yeah. Now, we haven't even had a talk. In the previous episode we were just recording, my boss, Gil Rosen, said when we first used to come to this show 20 years ago, it was all devices. That was the whole. Now it's slightly different. Everything's very generative AI, talks about the software, talks about. So what's going on in the world of devices?
Well,
What are the big things this year?
actually, AI on device. Well, AI is artificial intelligence is the word. Like 5G was the word a few years ago. So everything has to be with AI, right? But it's true that to deliver some of those great new experiences, you definitely have to have a portal to the digital world, and that continues to be the device. So, and the whole debate about what stays in the device for privacy, for security, or latency for cost reasons, versus what goes into the network. So a hybrid architecture between cloud and on-device is one of the main debates in the industry right now. So,
And it's fair to say many of the players have changed.
yeah.
So when you and I were together, bros, back in the day, we were at LG. LG Mobile's no longer here.
No.
I also used to come to this show with Motorola. I also used to
doing
come to
well.
this show with Nokia. So who are the big players?
Well, Apple and Samsung are the duopoly, and they are the driving force in this industry. But there is a bunch of, I wouldn't even call them challengers anymore, but are very solid companies like Xiaomi. Moto continues to be very strong in certain geographies. But then you have Honor, Oppo, and many other Chinese OEMs that are coming along. Xiaomi is an interesting one as well because I don't know if you've seen the cars.
No, I haven't had a chance to look. I've heard people have talked about it quite a lot.
I was there in November in the factory.
Right.
And I was able to drive the car and everything. So I think it's very interesting how smartphones are the cornerstone to boost the EV economy as well, because EV cars are almost like smartphone on wheels.
Yeah, exactly.
They have the same sensors, same technology and so on. And then some of these brands are actually moving. Huawei, Xiaomi, and many others are moving into EV cars.
Yeah.
We will be selling.
Are you going to sell cars there?
Yeah, in the shop.
I always thought you were a dodgy car salesperson.
Yeah, we could. Yeah.
And tell me, when we look at generative AI in devices, what are you looking for as someone who's sourcing this for one of the biggest service providers in the world? What are the things that stand out when a vendor is promoting or selling generative AI in their devices?
You know what? There's always talks about the killer app and the killer whatever. There's no killer app. Let's just eradicate that concept, right? Because it's done so much damage to this industry.
Yeah.
Like 5G. What is the killer app of 5G? There's no killer app of 5G, right?
Yeah.
So same here. I think AI is all about doing things better, bringing a new experience, and making the life of consumers easier. So you can delegate stuff on agents that can do things for you. Everybody will have a personal assistant that you can use to book a restaurant appointment or so. So instead of doing it with your finger on a touch screen, opening an app and so on, you will do it.
Anticipatory.
Yeah, you will use natural language to command something. And you don't need to be bothered on the steps that need to be taken to make that appointment and make that action anyway. So that's why it is fundamentally making your life easier, not really addressing new use cases. We had there will be some new use cases.
It's infused into the existing experience as opposed to being segregated.
The job to be done is the same.
Yes. Yeah.
I want to arrange things or whatever, right? So instead of doing it with the touchscreen and an app and so on, I will do it faster and a more simple way through Gen AI. And that brings the next big challenge in this industry, how consumers are going to keep up with this
Yeah.
So how we are educating consumers, right? And I've been discussing this topic with everybody this week, like Android guys, all the OEMs, all the CEO level and so on. So yeah, we are all preparing the traditional way, right? So training for the floor salesman, education material online so you can consume and so on. But I always go back to think about my friends, my family, my dad, my kids. Are they going to spend 5 minutes, a minute on doing this at all or not? And that's the problem. So when you the moment of purchase is when you might spare 5 minutes for a floor salesman to tell you all the great new features of the Galaxy AI and the Galaxy S25. But you are going to receive at least monthly updates of new features. So how are you going to be informed or keeping up speed with those kind of great innovations? So I think there is a big dilemma in this industry in terms of how people will be able to fully embrace what the device is able to do. Right. And I just suggested some of the guys, why don't we use AI to educate on AI? Right? So why don't you create a virtual AI assistant and you gamify it, with rewards and stuff like that, so that you become a guru. AI is not about Terminator, like machines taking over. No, that AI is more like magical powers, right? It's like Harry Potter. So any consumer can have magical powers thanks to AI. So the smartphone is the wand. AI, as opposed to scary.
No, I like that. I like that analogy.
Taking over.
That analogy that AI is the magic and smartphone is the wand. Right? That's a really nice metaphor for that.
I'm a poet.
Well, that's what we'll call this episode, The Magic Wand by Danny Hernandez. You're a great storyteller. You're a great presenter. Where are you using generative AI to enhance your own unique skills?
That's a good point, actually. I must confess, I'm using Gen AI to write some of the emails and some of the presentations and so on. So it kind of helps it makes me more productive, of course. But the magic is the magic.
But this is the thing. You know what you did there as well? This is really interesting. This is what I picked up with all guests this week. A year ago when we were talking about this, most of the guests went, but I don't really use it. I don't need to use it because I'm a writer, but I can see how people... And if people did admit to it, it was almost with a sense of guilt. I am guilty of using it. It was almost a shame. But now, this year on, people have embraced it fully, right? And that's it. People are in on it now, and they're...
No, I think... we are early adopters as well, right? At least some of us. So we are forced to try out things. So we're trying out not only Gemini, Copilot, also Perplexity, for example. As well. So once you build that trick in your mind of, I have to do this. If I do it with Perplexity, I do it or with Gemini, I do it in 1 minute. If I hope my friends from Xiaomi then told me, but we were on a stage on Sunday with Xiaomi, and the guys, my friend James from Xiaomi, asked me to write some feedback, what I thought about the launch of the fantastic Mi 15 or whatever. I was in the middle of a meeting and so on, but I just wanted to react quickly anyway. So what I did is I had a first draft with Gen AI, which then I modified and I completed. But it helped me already on a day-to-day task. This shouldn't be a shame.
No, exactly. We need to embrace it.
But you know what he said?
Well,
when I
use Gen AI.
Your English was too perfect.
And which platform are you using typically? Because I ask all the guests this.
I'm using Gemini and Perplexity.
Oh, you are using
both. And Copilot on my PC, but I use the three of them. But no, I think as advice to your fantastic listeners, and I think you need to create those kind of little tricks on your day-to-day
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's overwhelming, right? You don't need to.
Yeah.
I mean, we are a little bit dinosaurs as well, right? So maybe our kids will fully embrace this from day one, and they will be native.
But are you allowing, because I know you have 2 boys, one's at university now, which I can't believe, it goes to show how fast time is going. But are they embracing generative AI, or are you encouraging them to embrace generative AI?
I did. I mean, Danny Jr., turned 18, has started uni in September. I gave him a pro license of a subscription on one of those Gen AI services.
Yeah.
And I kind of encouraged him to use it, right? Because he had to deliver some dissertations, some theses, whatever. So saying, why don't you do it? I said, and I think all his mates are using it at school, at the university anyway. So we are on the verge. Let's see.
Now, you know how we finish these episodes? Do you remember? The TGI to go.
Okay, go on.
And I've got some new questions for you.
Oh my God.
Are you ready? TGI to go. Ballet or flamenco?
Flamenco all the way.
So you are a flamenco dancer.
I am actually.
See, we got
I'm actually a qualified flamenco dancer.
I know. I was telling Larissa.
I am a flamenco dancer.
Yeah.
I got rewards for it.
Actually. Can we? We're on camera here. Can we maybe?
I'll teach this a few.
And have you done any flamenco dancing this week so far?
No, not this week.
No.
I didn't find my partner yet.
Do you work from home or are you back in the office now?
I'm back in the office because I live very close to the office. So, but I kind of 1 or 2 days a week I might stay at home.
Yeah.
But I'm flexible.
Okay.
I don't mind. But I don't have to commute for a long distance and so on.
Yeah.
And it's good to be out of home sometimes, right? So I do work from home.
Okay.
But mainly from the office.
So if you had to go to a city tomorrow, would it be Seoul or Beijing?
I always say Seoul.
When were you last in Seoul? Because me and you used to go there all the
in
time.
October. No,
oh, really?
October.
And do you see any of the old...
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right.
Still there anyway.
Cool. Karaoke or disco?
I'm a terrible singer, but I will say karaoke all the time.
Yeah? All right.
Because it's a lot.
In Seoul.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
Seoul. Okay, there we go. That's all our questions for today.
Matt.
So thank you for coming in. Always great to see you, Danny. Stay in touch. It's great that we can use the podcast as the mechanism to connect and have a good conversation. And it'll be down in the history books and on Spotify for the rest of your life.
Thank you very much.
But thanks a lot, mate. Great to see you.
All right, man. Lovely. Cheers, man. I love you.
Wow, what a finale. What a finish. What an ending. Not just to season 10, but this spectacular week at MWC 2025. Long, tiring week, but just incredibly uplifting. And the power of human connection in this ever-growing world of digital hyperabundance has never been more important. Thank you to my guests today, Ankur and Danny. Great to see both of you, and hopefully we'll see you again very soon. So that's it. But it's not all over. There's still over 100 episodes you can go back and listen to again, or if you haven't heard before, you'll find them all available on amdocs.com/The Great Indoors, or indeed your favorite podcast channel of choice. If you like them, if you dig them, please leave a rating or review and subscribe. We'll be back again very soon. I need to take a break. That's a lot of recording. But I want to thank every single guest in this record-breaking 10th season. 5 years, over 100 episodes, over 200 guests. And there's a cornucopia of assets available at amdocs.com/The Great Indoors, where you can revisit this season, the season before, or the season before, or the season before. There's a lot there to get through. So that's it. That's it for a little while. I'm signing off. I'm flying home. So I'll see you all again very soon. So I'm Matt Roberts in Barcelona for Amdocs, and have a great day wherever you are.